going forward, I'm going to stop trying to keep my videos to any sort of, like, time length. I'm gonna stop. I think that's best for me and everyone else if I just stop saying I want to try and keep my videos to this certain length, or that, like, have it run for this amount of time, or record this amount of footage. It's not gonna happen. I don't know how many times I've, like, said I'm gonna try to do this. Like, I've done it, like, all the way since the second Too Much Talking Twink video, about idealization and separating the art from the artist, and I said gonna try and keep it short. And even that video, the first time I said it, I believe that was the first time I really actually said it, it ended up being an hour and a half long. So yeah, no more promising that. Well, it wasn't even promising in the first place. But yeah, here we are. So I've moved out of, like, in terms of my exploration of Ottawa, it's now moved out of the Orleans district. Obviously, I'm sure in the future I'll still make videos there and stuff like that, but as for really exploring it in depth, I've gone through most of the major areas of the district, and even some more of, like, just the subdivisions and stuff like that. The not more bustling, like, areas of the eastern half of Ottawa. So now I'm venturing further out into the city. I got dropped. So I didn't take the bus here. I got dropped off by somebody. Thank you to them for doing that again. And if you can see here, I have, well, most of, let me just move it over here into the light better, just for a sec. I have a blanket that I brought from Crow's Landing, and my thermally heated sleeping bag. And as well as, on my back here, and I'm actually really proud of myself that I rigged this up, I have a tent that some people gifted to me before they betrayed me. So, but thank you for that. The tent, not the other thing. Anyway. Right now, I don't know if you can hear, it's a bit more, I'm in a bit more of a, well, more of a larger business sector of, I think this might be part of Gloucester. I believe the district is called Gloucester. It borders Orleans, but if you look down this way, a little ways, down that way, you're probably able to see a lot more skyscrapers and just taller buildings. That is the downtown area, and that is where I am heading to today. And I have this sleeping equipment. I've taken it with me from the place that I've been situated at for the last little while in Orleans, just in case I get stuck out anywhere other than Orleans, or if I don't make it back to Orleans by nightfall, and I want to call it a night. And sorry as well if I look a lot more meatier and buffer, I guess, than usual. It's because I have layered up. I'm wearing at least, I would say, 4 or 5, is it 4? No, I think it's 5. 5 shirts underneath here. I'm wearing underwear, my fishnet tights, my ripped skinny jeans, and 2 other jeans, like blue jeans, just blue denim jeans under, well, I'm wearing one of them over top of everything else, but you get what I mean. I've layered up, and I also have socks on. So yeah, and why I'm doing that is because obviously it's autumn now, and the nights are freezing cold. And some days are freezing cold, but right now, as you can tell, it's actually quite a nice day in terms of like heating, like keeping someone warm. It's not really supposed to be, from what I know, again, of meteorology, it's not environmentally, it's technically not supposed to be acting that way, but hey, I guess just enjoy the little bit of pleasure that global warming brings, or benefit that it brings, I guess. So yeah, I'm actually lugging this around. And my phone, if you're wondering what it's on this time, it's actually attached to my tripod. So yeah, I'm actually, oh, that nearly fell. I know people are gonna be looking at me strange. I don't give a shit. This is just for my basic needs of survival, in a sense, if it's colder out tonight. I wished I could have fit this blanket into my backpack, but that seemed to have been impossible when I actually attempted to do that. Even after removing the mask, which is still in my backpack. Hey, it didn't work getting it in without it, so might as well just keep it in there. Just going forward. But, yeah. So, I don't know what I'm going to talk about in this video. Maybe elaborate on some things from the last one, but, should also say that right now I'm going actually job hunting somewhat, in the downtown area, and if I can get to other places, or other districts before dark, I will try and seek out employment in those regions too. So, yeah, let's go. Alright, okay. So I actually just tightened this blanket around my sleeping bag. And if you couldn't guess already, I'm not going to be switching the camera angle very much. Or trying not to switch it very much in this video. God damn. No, I'm not going to cross yet. I'm going to wait patiently. I got a better grip on this now. So, yeah. This will work. Fine enough. Hopefully. Probably not. Something's probably going to go terribly wrong. I don't know. We'll see. But, so, I'm also, I guess in the way I'm holding it now, like the position I have with my grip on my sleeping bag, and also, oh, sorry. Oh. That's interesting. There's a motion sensor on this, well, button to indicate, or to try and signal to the traffic lights to basically activate the walking indicator. That is, oh, well, okay, now I don't know what you want from me. Okay, understood you loud and clear. That's pretty interesting. I've never seen that before. I'm not really surprised by it. I mean, yeah, I guess I'd assume many more cities that are getting to more technological advancement would have that, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's cool. I mean, again, I don't get why I understand that feature being put in. It's just somewhat different. Well, it's just somewhat odd considering like what I showed in my first episode of this, where the light systems, at least in Orleans at certain roundabouts, it wasn't actually a light system, it was just blinking lights, like distress lights that indicated when someone was trying to cross. But it's interesting. So yeah. starting to notice that this was probably a really bad idea to use my tripod like this. Like, I probably didn't need to... I probably honestly didn't need to bring it for this, but it's kind of... I mean, I got a good grip on it now. I don't know if I was not going to hold it this way, like my sleeping bag ends also like it, then I don't know how I was going to hold my actual phone, but oh well, figured it out. Now I'll just wait to cross here. I don't know if I'll cut these bits out, because I don't know how much editing I'm actually going to do. I don't know how much post-editing I'm actually going to do on this video. I'll see how worn out I am by the end of this. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe I can hit it with my toes if I, or maybe I can just do this. I can just slide my hand up this. Yeah, this will probably, yep, okay, that actually works well enough. So, yeah. Well, let's take a look at the scenery and see what we have. A rather large cemetery with pretty similarly designed headstones. Look to be of, like, well, more of a worship of Catholicism, I guess, given all the crosses, or at the very least a very Christian graveyard with very, in my opinion, beautiful looking coloration on the trees. So, sorry. And obviously there's a lot of construction on this road right here. There's a lot of well, right beside me there's some sort of, well, building structure being built. Don't know what for, but hey, I'm not, well, if it wasn't maybe done to extract profit, I wouldn't be complaining, or extract major corporate profit, but I don't know. I don't know why. So, not gonna fully comment on that. This is an interesting parking job. Don't know how they managed to get it like that. Don't know why they decided to leave it like that, but okay. So yeah. So right now, so this is apparently it's called Montreal Street, and it runs from, I believe, Gloucester, if that's what the district is called and I'm not mispronouncing it, or somewhere close to Gloucester, or at least somewhere just closer. It connects to somewhere, to a highway that goes in towards Orleans. But anyway, it runs directly from this part of the eastern end of the city into the downtown area of Ottawa. Or no, wait, no. No, I think it goes to a street called Bank Street, and that street, or either it goes to it or it turns into Bank Street, and that street runs directly into the center of Ottawa. So, yeah. You might be noticing that I'm sounding a little bit uncomfortable. I don't think I need to explain why that is. If you didn't just see the last, like 7 minutes of footage, then it probably would be apparent. It should be apparent as to why. Well, if you didn't see it, then I don't know what you're doing. Unless you're skipping through the video. Okay. There's a little house here. Well, not little, but there's a medium-sized housing structure here. It kind of looks like it's an establishment that's been, or it looks like a house that was converted into, like, a business of some kind. Possibly. And then there's, well, some sort of church here, indicated by the cross on the top. Don't know what church or for what religion or sector of Christianity, but it's a church. This what looks to be a more, I guess, Western Central European style apartment building here. I don't know if it actually is an apartment building, or maybe it's a retirement home. I'm not entirely sure. But, it's very nice looking, at least from the exterior. But, or maybe it's a retirement home. I don't know. Oh, I probably also should have mentioned. I think people probably would have been picking up now, even in Orleans. There's a lot of these, like, electoral campaign signs that are being strung up all about the city. That's because right now, whoa, I can smell that cement. It's because right around now is actually it's election season for I believe it's for municipal governments across the province of Ontario. So it's not just Ottawa, it's, well, any municipality. Toronto, Mississauga, Windsor, Peterborough, Orilla, Newmarket, and any of them. Like, or just villages and towns even, too. So, they've got a lot of campaign posters up for people for politicians running for place of mayor, or re-running for place of mayor. I don't know who the mayor of Ottawa is at this current time. And also people who are running for councillors of the different districts, and also, I think they're called sub-councillors of the different neighborhoods and subdivisions of said districts. Yeah, Canada has with our system, we have councillors for the districts of the cities, the mayors, obviously, which are executive leader over the entirety of the municipality, and then in the districts themselves, we have, like, sub-councillors that are for the different neighborhoods, that represent and are supposed to be in charge of, well, getting organizations together, getting plans together to fund and take care of the communities. That is ideally what's supposed to happen, but it most often never does. Yeah. Because of corruption and things like that. Okay. Anyway, so, this looks like, not gonna lie, this looks like mayhem. I'm going to ask one of these fine people, hopefully they're fine people, how the hell am I gonna get across here without disrupting everything? I have no clue whatsoever. One sec, just give me a minute. Okay, there we go. Alright, so this fine person over here, my construction worker, just helped me cross the road. So mission accomplished, I guess. How thrilling. So, also, I'd paused the recording, I tried to unpause it with my nose. I wanted to actually see if that would work. It didn't, so it doesn't respond to any skin touch. Okay. So, God, this is already somewhat exhausting. but not entirely, so I can keep going. I guess they're just extending this sidewalk here, but I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, these are very interesting looking homes. They look more like they have Greek influence in them in terms of Greek architecture. Yeah. I'm going to assume that these are apartments, or at the very least, they're duplexes. They're very small apartments, if so, because it's what looks to be an apartment building, or what looks to be townhomes, I guess you would call them, right beside me here. And these are definitely duplexes. Definitely duplexes. So, what to talk about? I guess... I don't really entirely know right now. Kinda didn't have a lot planned for this one other than just get downtown and enjoy the scenery, see what I find, and look for a job. Oh, this is a cute little, whatever that thing is. I have no clue what that thing is. I don't know if that's a... Oh, shit, bumped into it slightly. I don't know if that's a stone grinder or what, or something to smooth out the freshly planted pavement. You know what? I'll get back to you in a second when I figure out what to talk about. Let me just get up a ways, actually. Oh, God. Okay. So that was something. Some very nice crossing guards. Just helped me across the road. They're very, very nice and pleasant. And actually, interestingly, well, that's an interesting old style car. A person, or a man, just offered me last 2 slices of pizza from his pizza box. I don't know if it's because he saw like what I had with me, but he just offered them, which was very nice. But I politely declined. Oh, sorry. It's ways. I declined. I'm not hungry at the moment, and I didn't need to take it from him. But, yeah, I guess that's something to talk about in relation to homelessness and poverty. So, I've seen recently, I've actually gotten in conversations with friends of mine about this. Wow, that's very South European style building. Or at least looks South European, or Southern European, very close to the Mediterranean. But a lot of people, I got into a conversation with some friends about this, because unfortunately a lot of people who, because of a lot of ideals relating to capitalism, but not entirely, but most of it I would say does, relating to it, they think that most homeless people are faking being homeless, or that they're faking being impoverished, because there are some people, unfortunately, who are egotistical, manipulative sociopaths who only care about making a quick extra buck or trying to gain money in a honestly really, well, because of how very little times it actually works. Try and gain money through, well, panhandling on the streets of many major cities around the world. People have this, well, people have a stigma around it. Mainly, they have a stigma around the impoverished, or people panhandling, more specifically because there have been some people who have managed to gain thousands of dollars just from panhandling on the streets, faking their way through it for the most part, just to gain a little bit extra money for a very expensive item that they want to buy, basically. Oh, did not mean to hit that. Where are we now? Montreal and Group Park. Okay. And there's just a broken desk chair out here. Alright. And a cart on top of a gravel pile. Don't know why. I'm not gonna question it right now. They think, because of these very selfish individuals, there's been a stigma created around the panhandling homeless that most of them basically just get filthy rich off of panhandling, which is absolutely not true, at least in my opinion and according to statistics. Many people, because of this, even if people did contribute a lot to donating to them, most often, unfortunately, many are not able to actually gain enough to even afford something, say, like a renting unit of some kind, or if they were able to sleep in a studio apartment, or just pay rent, maybe enough to pay rent to sleep on someone's couch, but depending on what they're charging for it. But that's, I guess, more of negotiation in that regard. But fortunately, most people, because of these very small number of cases, many people have this, well, really stupid and very factitious belief that most of them become basically self-made millionaires off of it, which is not true at all. And because of this, so many people just pass by those struggling with poverty and homelessness, who are asking for some amount of change or bills or whatever the country may be, any form of currency to help them eat, help them find at least one night's good rest, like a place where they can actually get some proper sleep. Is it okay to cross here? Yes, it is. It's me eating my hair again. Many people just pass them by because of this belief, and therefore they don't actually end up making this set amount of higher wealth off of panhandling, because everybody, or many people, have this idea that they're all just either faking it for either attention or because they're lazy, or they're just trying to con people basically out of their money, just to get some new materialistic item, which is absolutely not true for the majority. Most of them are struggling. They have not been able to gain higher finance and income because of life circumstances, and because our capitalist system, in my logical standpoint, is a shitty, monopolized, prejudice ideology or the system of capital mainly is, but and it allows for nobody or many people to not be able to, despite what people believe, pave their way through their own self-determination to gain, well, to be able to monetize wealth, basically. I'm just gonna rest here for a sec. Ow. And oh, is that a taxi? No clue. Anyway, people are not able to gain. They're not, despite what people may think, they're not able to pave their way up through the wealth system because the people actually allow the system allowing for corporate heads to regulate their own prices and basically just determine their own prices and also pay wages, even with the shitty minimum wage that this country and many around the world, well, this country has and other countries around the world have. They're not able to accumulate more. People think you work hard and then you get paid. And also, even if there was some measure of, even just with the idea that, okay, well, money doesn't count in that, it's whether you get picked by the corporate heads to get moved up in a promotion. Somebody still has to be at the bottom. I don't get what people don't realize is that even without a standardized pay wage, no, even with equalized income or standardized pay wage, someone still has to be doing the positions at the bottom level of a business. Someone still has to. If not, then there's no one to run it. So just because someone may get picked for a, hello police, may get picked for a higher position, that is not guaranteed, and many don't. And someone could, by the way, just work as hard as you do, work just as hard, busting their ass to get up there with a promotion, and someone else gets it first. So, oh, that is, just really took a moment to notice that. That is a really beautiful mural on the side of a building. The Ottawa Inn. That's interesting. From the looks of it, it looks to be very much indigenous culturally inspired in terms of the artwork. Like the fish, certainly looks more like herbalist soup, some kind, the moon, woodland spirits of some kind that looks like a woodland spirit, I guess, with the wolf or fox with, well, 4 eyes and the leaf looking thing in the center of his nose. That is really damn beautiful. That is really damn good. Anyway. And if that wasn't commissioned, then further props to, well, okay, that's a bit of an iffy moral issue of, street art, in a sense. If it wasn't commissioned and you were trying to make a point, well, I don't know. I'm not really going to comment on that right now. Let me think about that a bit. But if it was commissioned, not speaking, just from the ethics part of it, just from the sheer talent, though, if that wasn't commissioned to do that illegally, props to you just for, how much detail was in that, whoever the artist was. Anyway, so back to the stigma of homelessness. Because of that belief that they're just... Whoa. That's a nice little walking patch of stone. Or a nice little stone brick brick patterned parking lot. Anyway, because of that stigma, people pass them by They don't actually donate to them, so they don't make any sort of funds off of panhandling, and they're left with just scraps. And the same goes as well for, even if someone, there's also the other stigma that of like putting the burden, or like putting the bear of helping someone, and this is why I don't consider something like this a savior mentality or a savior complex. There's this mentality that that someone else is gonna just give them funds. Like if I'm of higher wealth, and you, like, this is a people who know that they have an amount to spare. Like I'm not saying like donate all your funds to everyone who's impoverished or on the streets. Obviously you need to survive as well with the finances that you have. I'm just saying, if you know that you are of higher wealth and you have the amount, like you have enough to give, at least even like a small portion that would be greatly beneficial. There are many who think, or even not, they just not even have higher wealth. Someone who just in the moment knows that they have a chance to help someone. Most often they say, I could give them like $20, so, but you know what, no, I want to go buy something else with it that I don't need right now, and even though I may want it and I could wait for it, but I want to go buy it, and someone else to do it for me. Someone else will pass by and they'll see this desperate person or people, and they'll give them some change. Yeah, hate to let you know this, but sadly everyone else, or most of the people, at least in my opinion, who follow a more traditionalist mindset, or well, not the traditionalist mindset in terms of like a capitalist world or a capitalist ideology or libertarian capitalist ideology or an objectivist philosophy, they basically just say, well, someone else will do it. Everyone else has that exact same mentality, or most people, I would say, sadly, have that exact same mentality. So no, the next person is just going to say the same thing that you said. They're just going to be like, oh, someone else will do it. And then the next person's going to come along and they'll just say, oh, someone else will do it. Oh, someone else will do it. And then no one ever does it. And, well, then the person who is struggling is left with nothing in terms of finance. I'm not talking about like their interpersonal social circle. Like yeah, just it's ridiculous to me. And even so, then I'm not also trying to stigmatize. I don't want to archetype homeless people, considering I am half homeless. I'd say, call myself, I'm semi-homeless. Okay, I would run across this, but nah, just keep it steady and walk. Sorry. Anyway, I don't want to stigmatize homeless people as if they're all miserable, because now here's the thing though, and I've talked about this with my psychologist before, that yes, this includes myself, that some people do choose to be nomadic and homeless. Yes, that's true, but most often it is not for financial reasons, or at the very least it's not for, I'd say from my own research, like in the latter months of my journey now, especially with my own reasons for going on the streets, when they willingly choose to, it's most often either A, because they enjoy more of a simplistic lifestyle, and usually aren't in the cityscapes, it seems, and people who want to partake in a nomadic lifestyle like that, they're not usually in the cityscapes. And they may also be trying to just find something, or it might be a more effective way for them to travel. But in terms of that was an interesting conversation I was overhearing. No clue what they were talking about. Anyway, there are, sorry. Oh, there is a lot of really cool street art and murals around here. I'm gonna take a minute to actually just walk down here. I'm hoping I'm not accidentally cornering myself in a... Well, okay, I would never do something like this at night. Just letting everyone know. Whoa. Okay. Look at that. Okay, these are wood panels that actually have design on them. And it's continued on upward onto the actual wall. Damn, that is detailed. I'm really impressed by that. Oh, look at that. That's on the vent. On the ventilation shaft here. That's so cool. Like, that actually really makes me somewhat happy to see. Very happy to see, actually, the artist, I would say, I guess, call them a sculptor and painter. I don't know if it was the same person who put the wood here and also painted it. But they actually put that much detail in it, even though knowing that it was in this, like, side alley, and that maybe most people wouldn't see it other than maybe the workers inside this plaza here. Because literally it just ends at a fence, and it goes into a subdivision. That is so damn cool. Anyway. So... God, look at that. It's like all our cherished items just hanging as if they were clothes to dry out. That is really cool. Okay, back to talking about homelessness. So I don't want to stigmatize saying that everyone who is homeless is miserable. Maybe they're actually, well, obviously there are people who are able to find joy, some amount of joy in the misery of everything. They're able to find hope and able to find some amount of, not, well, obviously there'd be some amount of not pleasure in the situation they're in, I wouldn't think personally, but they're able to find joyful moments with maybe the people they meet, or just comfort and compassion from others around them, and stuff like that, who are maybe in the same situation that they are. But so I don't want to stigmatize that, but many of them, I would say, are very much depressed about the situation they are in financially, because, well, even though they may be able to find happiness in other things in their surrounding environment, their ability just to gain necessities through trade is, well, greatly hindered because of their situation, which would be, I would say, for many people would be very, I'm going to stop this here for a second, very upsetting. I feel it would be. Now, obviously, I would try and, well, I'm out here trying to find hope for things, but I logically would try and remain hopeful of certain things and try and find what joy I could in the scenarios that I'm in, which is really what I've been doing now. To an extent, well, obviously, everything for me is, right now, everything is very disjointed. But, I am able to find moments of happiness. So, yeah. So, I'm just gonna rest here for a minute. I'm gonna get up a ways, and then I think I'll talk about this a bit more. Just a sec. Okay. This would be a bit of an interesting shot to get. So, this right here is the Ottawa River. Or the Ottawa Channel, I guess you could call it. I have never, at least in my adult years so far, or older teen years, seen it this close. It is, not gonna lie, it looks like a lot of other channels I've just seen on the map, but it's pretty beautiful in terms of the autumn colors around it. Whoa, this area looks like is actually pretty, I don't know if you can see it there, pretty shallow. It's more rocky patches and looks like clay. Okay, let me get a better position on this. I really should not be holding this right here. A little worried about it, but not entirely. Okay, so over that bridge there, or no, not that bridge. Well, actually, unless you can get to it, nah, that might not be it. Okay. Either that over there is Quebec, which I don't think, this looks like it connects to there, but it might not, so, oh, let me just move out of the way. It might not. But if it is Quebec, then over there would be the neighboring city of Gatineau. Oh, police officer on a motorbike. Haven't seen one of those in a long while. At least from what I can remember. Ah, come on. Can't tell if, yeah, okay, never mind. I just looked at my shadow. Some of the blanket is starting to sag. God, so many fucking cops. God, seriously. This is why... Okay, I think it's clear now a lot of people know my stance on the policing systems of the world. Now again, I don't hate every cop. I don't hate every single one of them. I honestly think it's really stupid that a lot of more left-wing leaning people, we talk about not stigmatizing and like grouping a whole demographic of people into one archetypal thing, and yet we do that exact thing with cops, politicians, and CEOs, and military operatives and things of the sort. Which, yes, I would agree that most are really encroaching and manipulative people, but not all. And that's a different topic for another time. I'm just going to set that right there for a minute. Huh. Anyway, I'll let you get a bit of a better look at the canal there if you can. Probably not. That probably didn't do much. You know what? I'll stand. I'll leave that right there for a minute. I'll stand, let my arms stretch out, because the amount of layers on them and the way that my hands have been positioned is starting to make them seize up and get very sore. Some nice little just gulls out there enjoying the afternoon. Anyway, take a minute right now to finish what I was saying. Oh yeah, back to homelessness, to finish what I was going to say about that. Now, off the topic of, for people who actually do want to help contribute to them financially by donating money to panhandlers, I mean, obviously you're more than welcome, in my opinion, and I think you should, if you have the means to, donate to homeless, first, actually, you might want to check out how what homeless shelters you are donating to, or organizations to help combat poverty in some way, actually look at which ones you are donating to, in case they're very mismanaged and, well, causing no real... They're not actually helping the people in need and really are just maybe lobbying the money in some way. But anyway, Salvation Army. Anyway, if you, by all means, donate to causes and organizations, or help them in whatever way you can, for ones that are actually trying to combat homelessness in some way, in my opinion at least. But in terms of in the immediate moment, if you're on the streets just walking and well, if you see someone who may, and this is here's the thing, here's my moral dilemma, or I guess now is more of a moral dilemma, but I always did have this in the back of my mind. I always say you shouldn't judge, they tell you shouldn't judge people by how they look, and obviously you shouldn't, but that also goes for people who look like, or it can go for people, it can also go for people who look like they may need some sort of financial aid. Now, I'm going to say this right now, in my belief, there is no look to poverty and homelessness. There's no look to it at all. Like, I don't want to sound, I don't want to sound self-obsessive here, like, I don't want to sound like petty and materialistic, but I think it's, from my opinion, I look relatively nice for someone who's semi-homeless and who has slept on the streets. I think my clothes have been, even when I didn't have access to, like, washing machines and things like that, or access to things to wash my clothes in, I think they were kept relatively clean enough. I mean, when I was in Toronto, one day I washed my clothes in Lake Ontario, but I believe I've already told that story. If not, I'll get into it at a different time. Please don't fall, tent. Please don't fall. Thank you. Sorry, my tent was just lopping to one side. Anyway, yes, you shouldn't, there is no look to poverty, and you shouldn't assume that someone is impoverished. Now, I don't take it at all as an insult being impoverished. I think a lot of people, you know, I'll get into that after this, what I'm about to say. But in terms of if you want to actually donate to someone on the streets, or if you're not sure if they're actually struggling in some way, if they don't have like any sort of sign that's indicating it, or a carton of some kind for change, what you can do is simply just politely go up and ask them if, hey, you look like, I don't want to, what I usually do is what I say, I don't want to assume anything, but it seemed like you may need some change, or it looks like you may need some help. Would you like me to give you some money, basically? That's a way I think that could do. And obviously, you can't always, obviously with how the world is, and how people form psychologically, you can't always tell what's gonna set someone off, like offend someone, sadly. Like, what's unintentionally going to offend them, like, in a, like, it's going to make it seem to them like what you say is like you're trying to demean them purposefully, like in a very detrimental way. But I think that'd be the best method for actually trying to help someone. Kind of like what I just said that man back there did with the slices of pizza. He just said, hey, I got 2 slices here. Do you want the last 2? He just asked. He didn't say, here, let me offer you this. He said, do you want it? And I politely declined. So yeah, I think that'd be a better way to go about it. For if you're nervous about like actually like what to do in this scenario, because I've had that nervousness before of like I want to. Ooh, geese. Just a couple of geese. Welcome to Canada. Oh. So long, seagull. And you as well. Your guys are just dipping. For whatever reason. Oh, is that a duck? Is that a duck? What is that? I can't see. What is that? It might be a duck. I don't know. A lot of seabirds. Or birds that can float on the water with their webbed feet. Anyway, I've had those feelings before of when I've actually... Okay. Don't know what scared you two off. Maybe you just realized you're late to the actual flock. You're like, oh shit, we're supposed to be flying south right now. We should have left like 5 weeks ago. We gotta get to Mexico quick. Or not Mexico. Well, I don't know if the geese migrate that far down. Wow, that was a surprise bus. Anyway, oh, let me get a shot of that. Oh, no, there's more geese over there. Okay. Anyway, I've had those feelings of nervousness, not because of the person being homeless. Obviously, I don't think you should fear them, which is I'll get into another reason of why in a sec. Oh. That looked like and sounded like an electric bike. An electric motorized bike. Anyway, I've been nervous of I don't want to, again, this is the histrionic tendencies, I don't want to offend oh my! Hello. Are you stuck? There's cobwebs here. Are you stuck? Oh, no, you're not stuck. Good. Oh. Okay. Okay, good. They weren't stuck. God, I'm just getting really I'm very distractible today. It might be because of, the extra layers. No clue if the tightness of my, 4 pants, 4 jeans specifically, is cutting off the circulation to my lower torso. No clue. Hopefully not. We'll find out if my legs give way at some point. I've not wanted to offend the person from it, even though I don't think you should take offense for quote-unquote looking homeless, or someone thinking that you may be struggling. But I've had that nervous feeling before of not wanting it, caring, if they're made uncomfortable by it. So I ask first, or I try to. And I'm sure other people have other methods as well that work just as fine. I'm just saying that it could be a way for you to ask if you're nervous about donating. It's funny, a woman actually, a few days ago in Orleans, when I was sitting in a park, actually it was the day that when I sat in the park to record that end bit for when me and some people I know were transporting Carlene, my side-by-side, to a different location. After that, when I was just putting that little end announcement in the latter half of the video, a woman walked up to me as I was just reviewing the footage and just sitting in the park, and she just asked me, "You all right?" are you doing okay? And I was just like, yeah, I'm fine enough. And she's like, "Oh, okay, it looked like you might have needed help," which I know, again, I know she wasn't trying to be like rude or anything, and I don't take it as like really rude. Like, I mean, I guess it's a bit of the subtle, like, stereotyping of looking like you're disheveled or looking like you may need help. But again, it just seemed like or maybe my demeanor looked a bit more put out or more sluggish, I don't know, or more lethargic, and they were just wondering, is that person okay? But again, I get what they were trying to do. I don't take offense to what they were trying to do. I have no clue if that is a duck. It doesn't really, its bill looks like it's pointed. That is a loud-ass radio for a small-ass bike. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna get moving up a ways and then, keep talking. Yeah, and keep showing the sights. Alright. I actually don't know why I didn't think to hold it like this before with one of my arms tucked actually underneath. Also, the sleeping bag. I do not know whose equipment that is there. Anyway, with most of my equipment, not equipment, with my arm in the bag. Well, I didn't think to hold it like that in the first place. But I just realized I walked a ways I just got off of the bridge, and I'm in front of the Romanian embassy for Canada. That's interesting. One of my former co-workers from the restaurant job I had in McCracken's Landing told me that there was a certain area that was really interesting, because it had a lot of different... So we had talked a bit about geography and stuff like that as well, and other things, but they seem to have known that I'm a bit of a geography... Well, that I am a geography nerd, and they... Oh, sorry. They recommended that I check out a certain area that has a lot of international embassies, that has just representative embassies for different countries here in the capital. And I forget where it is they actually told me that was. It might be this area, it might not be. I don't know if they told me it was the District of Canada, which is in the southeast, or it's the eastern part of Ottawa, or if it was in Nepean, or I don't know. But all those will have to be for a different day. Right now, I was wondering how long it was actually going to take me to reach downtown walking, but whoa. Okay, that answered my question. That's their vehicle, and damn, props to them. They had similar ideas that I had before with my side-by-side, especially with the blue wagon. That's the exact... Okay, that wagon there, I had a red version of that. That was the exact wagon I had attached to my side-by-side that broke off. Not broke off, that was breaking off, and it got its wheel crushed, and I had to replace it with the metal wagon because gas spilt all over it one day while I was out driving it. Yeah. Anyway, props to them. I don't know what they're using it for, but they rigged it up well. Very well. Really wish I had something like that right now. Somewhat. But actually, one of my priorities today is going to be, well, other than just exploring and looking for jobs, I am going to try and purchase one of those little carts you may see around. I used to see them a lot in Toronto, more so, of people carrying like shopping. They're not shopping carts. They're like foldable carts that you can just wheel along with you. I don't know their names, but a lot of elderly people have them, and a lot of homeless people I see having them, or people struggling with poverty. So, wow, okay. That I did not notice either. That is really incredible. This, not even a mural, it's a mural that's, again, hey, maybe this was done by the same artist who did that alleyway stuff. Those alleyway paintings. Because it's also got, I don't know if that's metal or if that is wooden boards, but they're fastened on with nuts and bolts. That was really cool. Okay. My phone is getting tilted. Stay in place, please. Okay. Got ya. Okay. So something like a cart like you see that person is carrying there, something similar to that, but it's not quite that. It's a bit larger. But I'll have to see, just so I can carry my stuff in. Go ahead. And, oh. That looks like another electric bike over there. Go ahead. Okay, now I'm gonna walk to actually get across. Another, again, really cool. I've seen something similar to this, like murals like this or paintings done on these. I believe these might be transformer units, like electrical transformers for generators. But I've seen paintings like this or like artwork design like this on these metal box transformer looking things in Toronto. I saw them there. So another one across the road. What else did I want to? Oh, yeah, we are really getting into the downtown area. I can see the skyscrapers. So what else did I want to talk about with homelessness? Let me get a really much better hold on what I have here. Oh yeah. Another bit of stigma and prejudice towards people of much lower classes. There's this belief, sadly, that's common again throughout much of the Western world and in parts of the Eastern world, but I would say in regards to what I kind of talked about in my last video, that most of the Islamic world, Middle East, Northern Africa, or in countries where it's more Muslim predominant, or Muslim dominant. Again, like I said about many traditions of the culture being more hospitable and welcoming, they're very good at not being prejudiced towards those struggling for food and things of the sort. I even mentioned in my third part of this series about at the Alibaba's bakery in Orleans how the business owners had actually given food for free to a person who didn't have the money to pay, or at the time didn't seem to have any. Anyway, and I don't know if their religion is, well, Islam, but it was more, it was a Middle Eastern, Northern African cuisine specialized bakery. But anyway, it's not as common, I would say, like prejudice towards those facing poverty in those countries, but obviously there is still prejudice. There are people who are prejudiced towards, in those countries, towards that's a bit of a better grip. There we go. Prejudice in those countries towards impoverished people, just like every country in the world. There's people who are, well, suffer more psychological disorders or personality disorders and think that they're, well, more, they feel very entitled and also feel very superior, which is very sad. But hopefully, I should also say I can't really see the camera somewhat. I'm hoping that it's not entirely like shaky cam in most parts. I don't want to turn into a modern fist fight, whoa. Okay, that was a sharp turn. I don't want to turn into a modern, fight, vlogger, or not vlogger, a person who, a fight cinematographer, I'll call it. Someone who's just taking out their phone, shooting a school fight, and A, isn't doing actually anything to stop it, and they're literally just watching the mayhem and cheering it on, which I think is ridiculous. But two, even with that being said, they don't know how to hold a friggin' camera properly, it seems. Or they can't contain their excitement enough to not let their peripheral nervous system just fucking go haywire with their limbs. Anyway, what I was saying was, there is stigma that many homeless people, or people who are impoverished, okay, I want to walk a little quicker across this, not very fast, but fast enough, hopefully. There's this stigma that they are more violent or aggressive, either physically or just, well, in terms of behavior, like how they're acting out emotionally, that they're more aggressive, which is not true at all. These are little nice... Oh, wow. We're riding on sidewalks. That's a... Right. I don't know if those are actually for the construction workers around here, but that's neat. There's a lot of construction going on in this section of Ottawa. This entire... this face of the building, or this side of the building, is being, I guess, either constructed or reworked. So, we got this heavy-duty crane here. Anyway, there's this prejudice that they're more aggressive and violent, which is, A, not true. I would say there's a mix, like everyone. Not to stereotype, again. There are obviously, yes, there are people who are impoverished or homeless who can have more aggressive behavioral tendencies if they're very desperate in many regards. But that is not all. Or maybe it could be very, assertive and, demanding you give them some sort of financial compensation. Yes, I get that, but that is not everyone. And honestly, in some regards, I'd say being more stern and asking someone for help is warranted in certain regards. So yeah. Especially if it's how somebody is actively treating them in the moment. Okay, let's get going. But, there's also, that stigma is not true. Most are not. Many are very docile, and many actually who maybe are more angry at those who aren't actually willing to help them often try and hide it and conceal it and repress it. They try and repress it so that people will actually see them as pleasant and friendly in the hopes that they'll actually pay them. So there's that. Or they put on a face to try, and a persona to try and seem more upbeat and pleasant in the moment. Which I don't fully agree with in terms of lying to someone, because that is very manipulative. And I get it, when I say manipulation, I know logically everyone manipulates to a certain extent at one point in their life or another. Even subconsciously, and they don't know it. Okay, I'm gonna go really quick. But that isn't that isn't everyone, and I don't think, well, in some regards, yes, unfortunately, in the situations people are put in, sometimes they have to, well, manipulate. Now, this bleeds into my existential dilemma, as if everyone is just sociopathic and self-centered, and they're really just putting on faces because they know they'll get more benefit for themselves out of it. And if they're able to manipulate, then why shouldn't someone else? But again, I believe it depended on the circumstances, but in certain regards, but anyway. Oh boy. Anyway, there's also the stigma that, you know what, why don't I flip the camera around for this? I mean, I'm not exactly filming anything out. Okay. I guess that's something to actually look at. Not something pretty to look at, but it's something to look at. There's a stigma that many homeless are that most homeless are drug addicts, which actually, believe it or not, I would say a majority of them, or many of them, yes, are. In certain parts of the world, there's a higher percentage of people who are addicted to recreational drugs. But as I said in the last Exploring Ottawa video, in my opinion, that does not make you a bad person. So, or people may think that because they are addicted to drugs that they are inherently more violent or more aggressive, which in certain regards, addiction, yes, sometimes if it's messing with your neurocortexes, can disrupt. Well, aggression is controlled by the temporal lobe. And some amount of, well, I guess the frontotemporal region would have some amount of play in being more dominant bound or being more domineering. But, yes, there are certain drugs that at high levels, or in certain people, it could disrupt the, well, neurotransmitters in the temporal lobe and cause more aggressive behavior. But for the most part, that is not true. And also, hey, I'm going to say right now, like I said, you know, I would say in certain countries, most homeless are addicted to some sort of substance, like physical drug substance. That is not a company car. There are, I would say most are, yes, addicted to some sort of substance. There are those, and many, who are not. So even if you are prejudiced because of that, there's that for you, that there are many that aren't. And in that regard as well, I should also say, just like homelessness itself, addiction has no face. Like, addiction has no... There's a stereotypical, like, idea that, people who are addicted are all like, give me the coke, man, give me the coke, give me the coke, give me the coke, something like that. No. Yes, there are, unfortunately, it's a stereotype that can be prevalent in more forms of media, which, again, I don't blame media for, sadly, pushing that narrative if that's the character that's needed for the story. Sadly. At least logically I do. But I don't. Well, they were very passionate about whatever they were talking about. Anyway, there are. What am I going with this? Where I'm going with this? There are.
Why they should go to shelters? They've been abusing there, and you pay $13 a day for him to be there. You know, for him to have a castle. Who's going to help that kid?
I mean, hey, in some regard, he's not wrong. Thank you. Even though I haven't been to shelters, but anyway, I guess, well, there's that bit of assuming, like, just based on look. Again, I guess that can't really be helped at a certain point, but anyway, where I'm going with this is, just because someone is addicted doesn't make them a bad person. That, even though I would say yes, most homeless are drug addicts, that doesn't mean you should care any less about them. Like, there's this subtle belief that, or not even subtle, like, there's just this unfortunate, like, narrative that addiction is just something that you can, and no matter what form it is, because addiction can come in all forms. I don't believe there's any, yes, there are certain things that may be more likely to cause addiction, but really anything can be addictive. And just because something can be addictive doesn't mean it can't be used well. Like, it doesn't mean that just because someone is taking an addictive substance that they will become addicted to it. So basically, there's this idea that people can just kick addiction, which, no, they can't. Most often, they can't. Actually, no, if, literally, definitely, oh, hello. Whoa, okay, sorry, boys, didn't mean to startle you. Sorry, I don't have any food for you either. Like, if people could just, like, kick addiction, then it's not an addiction. Like, I'm saying that right now. Like, it's this idea that you can just kick addiction, literally in the term addiction. Addiction is a habitual, and reoccurring habit. It's something that is overly desired, and just, you can't just kick it, like, at the snap of your fingers. If you could, then that's just, you enjoy using the product, and you can give it up. You're not dependent on it, basically. So if you could just kick addiction, then it wouldn't be an addiction. So, oh. Now the pigeons are back. Seem to be really afraid of the camera. So anyway, and why I still feel that, like, there's also this idea that if you give money to someone who is a drug addict and homeless, that, oh, they're just going to use it to buy drugs. Yeah, many of them may, but in many regards, for someone who's severely addicted to a substance, it is much more dangerous for them to go through a withdrawal without the assistance of medical care, like any sort of actual, like, psychiatry would be able to help with it, but also medically, if you don't have aid, like, in terms of making sure that your body physiologically is not going into a complete shutdown mode almost from not having something that it's used to powering on, I'm just saying the withdrawal symptoms from addiction and certain drug use can be debilitating, and it can actually kill you in some regards. So, so in that regard, I would say it is better to give them your money and let them. And yes, there are more like things like heroin clinics or morphine clinics being opened up to give people a slight to wane people off the drug slowly, with either a reverse engineered version of the stimulant, or like an altered version of the stimulant that's not as potent, or with the stimulant itself and just give it in small doses, and to have it medically monitored at those clinics. But even okay. Oh, yeah, Ottawa's just like most large cities, yeah, traffic-wise. Anyway, and many people don't have access to those clinics. They're not able to get to them. So it's better to give them your actual cash. As well, it's also better to give them their cash because there's another thing. A lot of people just go and buy them food. And I used to actually be like this as well years ago, even with my own research of things. I was ignorant to this. I thought, okay, I don't want them to use the money to go buy stimulants. So I'll just buy them food so that they don't starve. And that'd be a good gesture to them. And again, at that age, even though I was ignorant to it, it wasn't because I felt I had to. It's because I actually cared to and wanted to. But where the issue comes in with that is, one, there are people, I don't fully agree with this, that you should see someone giving you food as demeaning, but there are people who see it as like humiliating, like they feel it can make depression that they may suffer with worse, because, well, they feel like, well, in a more capitalist ideal that they should be able to pick themselves up from where they are all on their own, and earn their wealth, which, not true in my logical mind, but, very insightful, Crow. I learned a lot from what you just told me. The Ottawa mission for shelter. Oh, okay, that was interesting. A food bank truck actually just was driving down the street. There have actually been a lot more of those popping up in recent years in North America, and also in Oceania. But anyway, there's this belief that you should give them. I thought that I could just give them food, and that'd be better. But where the problem lies with that is they may not need food. And you also, unless you're asking them and they're wanting you to buy them food, then if you're not asking them and you're just going out of your way and buying them just any food from any store or restaurant, you don't know what their dietary restrictions are. You don't know what they can actually consume. You don't know if they have digestive issues, if they're intolerant to certain things, they're allergic to certain things, they can't digest it, or it could send them into anaphylactic shock. So you don't know. And again, they may not need food. They may need over-the-counter prescription medicine, not for like habitual use, just for pain management. From what would that be from? Oh yeah, sleeping out in the freezing cold and sweltering heat, or scraping themselves on the pavement, or getting blisters on their feet from not having proper footwear, and or walking barefoot on pavement, hot, sweltering, burning pavement in the summer, or getting frostbite in the freezing cold winter. So this one bit of hair will not get out of my mouth. are off my lips. Please go away. Anyway. So yeah, it'd be better in my opinion, like, and even so, if you're just gonna buy them food, you're people say, like, oh, I don't want to give them money because it's taking out of my, there's like this hypocritical belief, like it's contradictory to what they're doing. Like, they'll be like, oh, I don't want to, like, give them my money because it's my money, but I'll buy them food with my money and give it to them. Well, you're spending like $20 on the food anyway, so why the fuck didn't you just give it to them? Like, you're already, if you consider it a waste of money, you're already wasting your money by buying them food and just throwing it at them. So, just give them the fucking $20. Just give them it. If you're gonna buy them food, then just let them buy the food. Or also, at the very least, even if you don't agree with me on that stance, and you still think it would be better to just give them food, for God's sakes, at the very least, buy them something better than fucking McDonald's, or fucking Subway, or Dairy Queen. Buy them, like, actually something more nutritional than that, or something better than, like, a $2 Mars bar. Like, yeah, and I'm not trying to say that all fast food is terrible for you. I think you can do fast food well in some regards. But, like, how would you actually try and find a more, if you're in an area where there is a lot of them, find a more authentic, like, well-made, like, well-actually maintained and well, like, a fast food restaurant that actually has nutritional, like, organic, or betterly, just better food products. They just have, like, more nutritional food products. Because McDonald's, in my opinion at least, is complete artificial crap. And heavily, they torture their animals pretty well and put them through growth hormones. The way they make chicken is disgusting. And I say make, because I don't actually think that the fucking chicken is... I think there's like 1% chicken in, like, McDonald's chicken nuggets, if we're being actually honest. Burger King is, like, just fucking dried out beef that's been not preserved through a drying method, but, like, I swear they probably just leave them out in the open, or I wouldn't be surprised if some fall on the floor and they just scrape it up and then throw it on the grill, and just... I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Burger King just fucking... they took the rubber from, like, shoes, like, from like the tips of shoes, scrunched them into, like, a patty form, and then gave them, like, an artificial beef stock flavor, and then just grilled them and put a slab of very much artificial cheese product on it, like American cheese or something. Yeah. So that was my rant about homelessness, why you should actually give to them, and some of the stigmas there are around it, and why many of them are untruthful, or at the very least they're stereotyped and they're it's made to be like an overbearing thing on an entire populace. Anyway, I'm going to get walking into the downtown area to show you, and I'm going to get something to drink because I am very thirsty right now. I don't know if I'm going to get it here or wait till I actually get closer to downtown. I'll see. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to cut that out, that end half of what I just did there, but basically I just gave some change to some people on the streets who are sitting out in front of the store. And I did the same thing with giving actual bills, the last bills that I had on me right now, to two other homeless people begging on the streets. Ow, just knocked the end of my tripod. And I may cut that out because bit of an ethical dilemma. I don't... Here's the thing. Do I think you should have the legal right to do this? Yes, but socially filming yourself giving money to homeless, or to the homeless, can at points be a form of exploitation, at least in my view, or at the very least, there are people who basically just get homeless people to do a bunch of strange, very eccentric or things that make them uncomfortable just to get clicks and views, and they just, oh, my phone is dying. I'm gonna find a place to actually charge this and eat. They basically, well, they use basically the footage to exploit them, to make them do their bidding basically, and then paying them for their wild acts so far. It's their performance basically acting to just get your money. So yeah, but I think I'm gonna, well, on the one hand, it could actually be done to show, well, you don't have to, you shouldn't need to show yourself giving money to someone. You shouldn't need to. Again, if you want to actually interview the person, interview them, you shouldn't need to, you can do that off camera, giving them, I'm gonna cut, actually, yeah, I'm gonna cut, even though I'm iffy on my morals, following my logical standpoint, I'm gonna cut out the ending bit of the last portion of the video, just to not be potentially exploiting those people. They actually thank me for, all of them thank me for it, but the ones back here basically move away a bit, it's just over here, my stuff being here on my hand. There's also these are interesting art pieces. I think they're supposed to be inside of like a geostone or something, like cracked open of like a geo or an ore of some kind. Basically these people over here, you'll still see them, I guess, in the footage, but they thank me for it, and this isn't me trying to brag, but, well, one of them said one of them wished me luck because they saw what I have here, and I guess they assumed that I was also struggling. I'm obviously in nowhere near as much, well, peril and going through as much strife as them, by no stretch of the imagination, in my opinion. But one of them wished me luck on my, well, they just wished me luck. They just said safe travels. I didn't tell them anything about like my journey or anything. It's just they saw this and wished me luck on that. So yeah, if you couldn't tell right now, I'm in what seems to be part of the downtown area, larger skyscrapers. I don't think I'm fully into the center yet, but I'll go a bit of a ways. I think I'll actually take my phone off of my tripod right now, and then just hold my tripod so it'll be easier in my hands. Well, that's pretty enough. And then, yeah, I'll find a place to charge this, then head to some other locations, and also get something to eat. This is interesting, though. I don't know if this is... I'll let you pause it and read that. I think that's just detailing the artist and the artistry here. But they have some words along here. People have tagged it. Children are the future, or are our future. That one might be respect respect elders. I can disagree quite a lot on that in certain regards, but anyway, yeah, read that if you want. Well, Parliament Hill. or at least I think half of Parliament Hill, according to the map I just looked at. Just a street over. Well, if it is, or if it's some sort of city government office or legislative building, well, it's the murderous palace itself. But the architecture is very nice. That's got very... looks to be Western, like very British. Wow. Stonework. Architecture of some kind. I don't know why the upper half of that is meant to look like the columns of a castle, and I'm not even recording that, of course. But it is very nice looking. This part here, though, looks more like... It kind of, I guess, looks more Western European, like French or Belgian architecture of some kind. But, yeah. Again, I think this area is where Parliament Hill is. I mean, technically that is our Capitol Hill, but it's where the Parliament, the Canadian Parliament, is situated. I'm gonna walk a bit further up just to see if this actually is. I know it's part of, like, this is a government office of some kind, but I don't think this is the main building. The main building is obviously a lot wider, or at least maybe it's the back end of it. I don't know. I'll just have to get across the street and look. Nope, I was entirely wrong. That is Parliament Hill and the Parliament building. So this is, well, architecturally, it's just, well, it looks damn nice, in my opinion. Again, really nice Western European type architecture. Looks more French style, or closer to the western end of, like, I guess I'll call it mainland Europe, not like Britain and things like that, and Ireland. But, no, this is just a hotel. This is literally, it's called apparently the Chateau Larrière. I, again, can't pronounce it in the Quebecois French. Looks nice, probably some mega rich, douchebags, primetime theft machine. And as for you are the murder palace. This, as you can see here, is, well, it's a dam of some kind, and it's filtering through to the rest of the Ottawa channel. And also, right now, I'm just gonna leave my sleeping bag there. Before I was keeping more protection of it, I honestly would like to, I've been lugging it around. I'd like to try to see someone, like, actually attempt to move it and get very far with it. It's not going to be an easy task, so I'm sure I'd catch them soon enough. And I was actually, now looking at it from this, well, viewpoint, I was completely wrong about what I said over there on the Passover Bridge that I crossed. So what I was pointing to on the other side of the river was not Quebec at that point. That was another half of Ottawa, just one that's swiveled off more towards, well, the northern end a bit. And what I was showing across the river was the district of New Edinburgh. But that over there is, that city is Gatineau, Quebec, which I have yet to explore. But I obviously making plans to accomplish that soon enough. And from here, you can see, God, can I actually film the damn city? I don't want to lean my phone too far over the edge there. There's the main connecting bridge between Ottawa and Gatineau. Yeah, I honestly, I did not think I would get to Parliament Hill this early on in this little series. Like, I didn't expect to get here this quickly, from where I was. But, here we are. So yeah, I'm sure I'll pass by here in future, or go more in depth walk along the, property. But, well, for as nice as the building looks, I can definitely say, well, you probably know, if you know me, I have multiple issues with the people that dwell in there. At least most of them. So this, I don't know what this little park area here is called. No clue whatsoever. I don't know what this little building here is called. I don't know what it's for. Maybe it's to maintain this dam here, or this water flow conductor, or whatever it is that's running off into the actual channel. But oh, I just noticed that. That is an interesting statue. I would like to see that from the front. I don't know what the heck that is supposed to be. Okay. Yeah. It's very... I will say it is very... For all the disparity that surrounds it, as I'm sure you picked up on, there's quite a lot of surrounding the Parliament building. There's quite a lot of, well, people in crisis, in financial crisis, taking refuge just on the streets, which I have already given quite a lot of my money to now. I know I'm not giving dubious amounts at points, but I feel incredibly terrible for them because, well, to a certain extent I have to keep the money I have with me, which I don't like doing. But, yeah, this is really breathtaking. I think... Okay, I'm gonna talk about one more thing relating to homelessness here, and then I think I'm gonna wrap this video up. Maybe shoot another one, I don't know. If I can get this one uploaded here. What to say? Well, okay, I'll say this. In relation to homelessness... You know what, I'll point it directly at the Parliament building. It might seem a little pretentious, but you know what? Fuck it. In relation to homelessness, just because, I think another thing people need to understand is, just because someone is homeless and impoverished does not mean that they are jobless. You can be without a home, or out without a permanent place to stay, a place of your... Oh, let me readjust the camera. Place of your own, or just a place that you're staying for the foreseeable future without any plans of moving on from it. You cannot have that, not have any sort of domicile to call your own, and still have a job. Like, there are people who sleep in alleys, who basically get up, sleep beside their place of employment. They get up every morning and they just walk right in and change in the washrooms and do their job to the best of their abilities. And then when the day is done, they walk right back out and sleep out there. And yeah, so okay, I'm sorry if I seem a little bit off right now. I'm pretty... well, saddened. But, I'm saddened by a lot of what I've seen on the streets, just so much as walking up to here. I didn't show all of it, but if I film another one, I'm sure you'll see more. Someone was telling me when I was staying at the cottage over the summer, the homeless problem and housing crisis specifically has affected Ottawa in great numbers. I wouldn't say yet that it's near as much as Peterborough or Oshawa, or even probably Brampton and things like that. The crime rate is not near as much as Peterborough or Oshawa, but it's affected a great number. So, in terms of how I'm logically feeling, despite me standing here with an existential and ethical dilemma, Canadian government, I will at the very least say this. If you want to look out literally your front doors onto the road outside, or hell, maybe even like directly on your property, there are people suffering that you clearly don't give two shits about, because I know that at least half of you, more than half of you, have psychopathy. And you need serious goddamn help. But in terms of your whole ideals of free market and self-monetary gain, regulated by just the self, well, at least the way you're fucking doing it, and it seems the way the whole world is doing it, look outside, because it's clearly not fucking working. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say for now. I'm going to get one more shot of, a better shot of Gatineau, and oh wow, that's actually, that fire over there is really pretty. They got a flame. I don't know if that's a real flame, but so that's some sort of either fake paper or cloth flame or an actual flame going. That's very pretty. I guess I'll say one more thing, is that it's very apparent to me that we humans, we're very good at, with everything I've talked about recently, we humans are very, very, very good at one thing, it seems, and that is playing too much dress up. Now, don't get me wrong, I love dress up. I very much enjoy it myself. Just wearing clothes that I enjoy, makeup that I may enjoy. But what I mean by that is, the human race, in much of its capacity, at least for how most of history seems to have gone, is that we are really damn good at putting a bunch of flashy, glittery, seemingly perfect clothes over something. We're good at making it seem like there's nothing wrong with the way we're going about playing dress up. when in reality our clothes, if you look at the seams underneath, are torn, faded, they have shit stains all over them. And you can ignore it with by just concealing it in... You can try to ignore it at least in concealing it with fancy looking gowns, dresses, suits and tuxedos, or bright and vibrant colorful attire. But sooner or later, your clothes will start to reek. And they've already started reeking. A hell of a lot. The world has a lot of very unpleasant body odor. At least to me. Alright. Well, that was some... Well, that was something that came out of my mouth. Yeah. I'm going to figure out where to go next from here. I may try and head down to a certain area south of the downtown area, not in southern Ottawa, but closer to it, to apply for a certain job that I've been actually putting a lot of thought to. And I'll explain more why in the next video whenever I make it. So, yeah. Right now, I'm just gonna enjoy this, and I'm gonna see about my sleeping arrangements tonight. Hey, if they don't kick me off, maybe like fucking just right out here would be at least not as terribly cold. Who am I kidding? This place is probably full of elitist dickheads of a superiority complex and are egotistical and sociopathic. They probably will send the guards out, pay them a few extra bucks to do so, and just say you gotta move. And then I'll say, but move where to? And they'll just say, we don't care. You just gotta move. You just gotta get out of sight of us. Okay, I've said enough pretentious stuff for now. Goodbye. Okay, I'm gonna move. Alright. So, this is right getting close to the downtown area. There's more murals. This looks like a more old-style theater. Like a play theater. Or maybe it's a movie theater, I'm not sure. It's called... I can't see in the light. By Townie? I can't actually... Oh! There's also a bookstore here. I guess a DVD shop as well. That's nice. Oh yeah, it is a movie theater, okay. Hey! Looks like it's playing more indie films. I have not heard of these two. Olivier and 3,000 Years of Longing. Not heard of them. And they're making a remake of All Quiet on the Western Front? I did not know that. That's interesting. Or they're making another remake. There was already a remake. The 1979 remake of All Quiet on the Western Front is one of my favorite films of all time. I saw the original 1931 version. The 31 version was... It was, okay, for the most part. Oh, let me move past that. Sorry. In my opinion, it was okay. It was the directing on it was a little disjointed in my opinion, and the acting was a little overzealous, I guess, or there's a lot of overacting and what seemed to be very unrealistic emotional portrayal of certain wartime veterans, but whatever. The 1979 television version, despite it being mainly in English for some goddamn reason, and nobody talking in German accents, though it's set with main German characters, and it being in, well, Germany for a large portion. They are all speaking English, they're not speaking German. But whatever, in terms of the actual story, I genuinely love that film. So yeah, I did not know they were making a remake. Don't have very high hopes considering it's Netflix, but oh, sorry. But